Hi guys. All right, we are here today to start the restoration on my personal Virus Indigo that I've had for almost 20 years. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, I've taken care of it over the years. Replaced a few parts here and there. Um, but I'm actually going to get ready to sell this unit because I'm purchasing a Virus TI2. It's time. You know, I've wanted a TI2 forever, so I am going to restore this to essentially new condition and put it up for sale. So um, I've already replaced the LCD in 2021, so 3 years ago. I replaced the LCD with the blue matching, factory LCD. I've already replaced several tact switches. I got a couple of other iffy switches. I mean, this one works, this works, this works, and this works, but sometimes it's like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and replace these because I'm actually going to go ahead and replace as many as I have. I think I'm definitely going to hit those ones, but I think I'll probably have some left over, so maybe I'll hit these two. They get used a lot. Maybe I'll hit this one, it gets used a lot, and then these shape ones get used a lot too. All these have been replaced already, like not that long ago, so I'm not worried about them. Um, yeah, and as you can see, the keys are a bit yellow, so I'm gonna restore those. I mean, this will be pretty near met. There's a couple of dings here and there. Like LFL1 is kind of hard to read right there. It's just kind of worn off over the years. There's a couple of dings here and there, but anyway, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a lot nicer than it is. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and pull all the knobs off and put them in a bowl. Okay, that's sitting pretty solid, so I'm not gonna worry. All right, this one's longer. All right, I need to remember that. The ones by the MIDI, I bet this one's longer too. All right, so now the keys are just gonna fall out. I'm gonna flip it over. All right, so I believe, does this pop off? Yep. Okay, there we go. Wow, I'm gonna have to whiten both sides of this plastic. It's not sun damage, it's just age. Pop that out. It's gonna pop this side out, and now I bet this back piece will come off nice and easy. Let's see. There we go. So this is actually the power supply for the unit. Alright, first thing I want to do is get a marker and write and number these so I don't screw this up. Alright, so 1, 2, 2. This way when I put it back together I won't mess them up. Alright guys, so just gonna do a little bit more today. I want to clean this piece and safely store it away because I'm not really comfortable with its current position, with the fact that I can't disconnect this power switch. So what I'm going to do, I've got a anti-static bag. Always save these if you buy a motherboard or something, they come in handy. Or graphics card or whatever you buy. That I'm just going to kind of wrap that up. You don't want anything to happen to that. So now we're going to flip her over. And it's pretty filthy. I'm going to come in a little closer so you can see. I'm going to give it a nice cleaning. Because that's covered now, I'm not so worried about spraying this down. Just want to make sure nothing can leak into there. Though it really wouldn't matter if it did, but I don't necessarily want to spray my carpet with simple green either. So you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that's a lot of cleaner. Yeah, it is. But I'm going to let it sit for a minute and start to kind of cut through some of this dirt and grease that's built up over the years. Now, there's no real scratches on this. At least, well, we'll see once we get it clean what it really looks like. It's kind of hard to tell what in its current shape. The only bummer, again, is that LFO is... It's tough to read that. Alright. This paper towel is going to come out pretty dirty. Yeah, it's as clean as that's gonna get. It's pretty darn clean. Um, yeah, I mean that looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than it did. Nice to get rid of all that dirt. So yeah, now that it's ready for long-term storage, I'm gonna put it out of harm's way. I'm just gonna put it under a bench I have over here so that it can't possibly be damaged by anything I do until I'm ready to put that synth back together. So I'm trying to remember exactly which ones. It's on, I got it saved on a screenshot, so, but I know I want to replace this one. I know I want to replace 2 on this side. I think I've got quite a few though. Going to my bag of tricks here. 11, 12. I've got 13 replacements. Not enough to do all of them, but there's 3 that are iffy. The rest are good. I'm gonna go ahead and I thought I hit these, but I didn't. I hit all these. These get used the most. I'm gonna replace all these. These get used quite a bit too. Yeah, we'll get a chance to replace everything that's iffy and potentially future iffy, so that whoever buys this shouldn't have to replace any tact switches ever. I just want to show you guys something. If you see down here, you've actually got some corrosion on the inside of this metal frame. I've cleaned this already. Got a couple of spots here, here. Now, it would probably be 20 years before that caused any type of real problem that was visible on the outside of the unit. But because I got it open, because I can see it, I'm gonna coat that. I'm gonna fix this corrosion. I'm gonna coat this bottom piece with a layer of kills. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I'll hit all the spots that are corroded with kills, and just stop that corrosion dead in its tracks. Just gonna take care of it while I have it open. Why not? Let's give this thing its best shot at having a long and fruitful life. Beautiful machine, so why not? Hey guys, all right, we're gonna whiten some keys today. Gonna be moving really quick here because I want to make sure I get as much sunlight as possible. Just want to show you the basic steps of what goes into key whitening. So if you look here, you see I have the keys in these Pyrex dishes with a piece of cardboard underneath. And the reason I put the cardboard there is because I'm gonna have to tilt these up to get them in the sun, and I don't want the keys to slide down. So the keys have this little piece of plastic sticking out, and I'm gonna angle them up like that because it's winter time and I need to. The sun's at an angle, so I need to. It's not straight above, so I need to get these angled up about like that. And yeah, I don't want the keys to slide down. So a couple of steps to this process. So this is what I'm going to use. This is cream peroxide for hair, the hair product, I guess. People bleach their hair with it. I used to dip the brush in and paint, and you know what's a lot faster than that? Is to just dump this stuff on here quite liberally. And then now just kind of spread it out. Now I want it to be really thick because I don't want it to dry out. And it's kind of cold out today. It's not very warm, unfortunately. It's better to do this when it's warm because then, well, you'll see. I'm going to wrap this whole thing up in saran wrap and seal it. And when it's warm, well, that'll keep the inside of this thing super humid because the water will constantly be evaporating and recondensing, and it'll just be a super humid environment. And that's the best because you don't want this stuff to dry. If this stuff dries on your plastic, it will scar it. You do not want that. It's with white plastic, you're pretty safe. With colored plastic, oof, it really becomes dangerous. All right, that's pretty darn good. I don't think I've missed any spots. Let's just make sure we get the tops here. I might dump a little more on just to. Too much is better than too little. Now this is it's gonna run down too because I'm keeping it at an angle, so gravity's gonna pull this stuff down. Now I'm also just gonna take a little peroxide solution and just spray it in there. Again, this is just to help keep the environment inside moist. Now this is a tricky part. Don't screw this up, or you'll do everything I just did over again. Got to get out your saran wrap. Do your best not to ruin your piece of saran wrap. Pull it tight. I don't want it touching all the work I just did. I don't want it to sink down there and touch anything, so I'm gonna get it nice and tight. That's good. And you can see I got a little bit. Actually got quite a bit. I'm gonna have to do this over. See, I got it touched, and it took too much of the cream off. All right, let's give it another go. It's really tricky not to screw this up. Saran wrap's kind of a pain in the ass to work with. That's good. That's gonna do it. We're gonna get it this time. All right, there we go. Nice and tight. Spin it around. Nice and tight. Now, I really want to make sure this is airtight because I do not want it to dry out. That would be terrible. So I always just get some tape and run it around the side. This saran wrap stuff, I mean, once you stretch it, it pretty much seals itself, but no room for error. These are keys from a Virus Indigo. They're irreplaceable. Don't want to burn any of them. That one's ready to go in the sun. All right, so I'm going to quick run these out into the sun, and then I'll take the camera out there and show you what's going on. Can't do both at the same time. All right, so now you can see I've got everything sitting in the sun at an angle. Made this contraption out of cardboard and bricks just to kind of tilt them up. You can see my shadow. It gives you an indication of the angle the sun's at during winter. So hopefully, I'm going to set a timer for an hour and come check on them. An hour is safe, but stuff won't dry out in an hour. You can see it's already running down because I put so much on there, but yeah, better safe than sorry. So we'll come back in an hour. All right, guys, so they've sat out there for another half hour or so. That's as white as they're going to get. What I'm going to do, I'm going to rinse them, flip them over, and hit the other side. Now, you got to rinse these really, really, really good. Again, you do not want this stuff to dry on here. It will cause all kinds of trouble. So I'm just going to, again, cut into this. Yeah, these are super white now compared to what they were. This is going to look so nice. So, yeah, when I say rinse, I mean, I'm really going to, these things, this stuff, I mean, my hands are already, you can see my fingers are already like turning white, but that's all right. I'm just going to go ahead and dump all this in here and then rinse my hands off quickly. You have like just a few seconds with this stuff to rinse off before it starts to burn your skin. There we go. Whew. All right. Let me move our camera. I want to get all this peroxide off of here. I really got to rinse these good. Just the initial round to get the big chunk of it off. Let's. It's going to get a lot of it, but it's not going to get all of it. It's not even going to get most of it. You really got to get in there and scrub these until you get that squeak. That way you know it's all off. Trust me on this. If you just use a toothbrush or something to scrub it off, you're not going to get it all. You got to get that squeak. Now the fun thing is we get to go through all this again. That bottom is pretty yellow. Yeah. Never had to whiten the bottom before, but I really need to in this case. Because you do see that on the front of the synthesizer. And I wouldn't want the bottoms to be obviously yellow and the tops obviously white. Alright, so we got a royal mess here. But we still need to do the bottoms. So what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. I'm going to leave the cardboard in the position it's in, and I'm going to slide the keys underneath. To get that one bit that I need to get. Oh yeah, it's really not. So I'm going to have to do all that cleaning all over again, but that's the way it goes. Alright, so let's talk about the key bed real quick here. I had actually cleaned this contact board and these pads about 2 years ago. But since I've got it open and I'm going to potentially sell it, I figured I might as well just go in there and clean them again. Because it'll probably be a long time before somebody opens this unit up again. So yeah, all the contacts have been cleaned. All the keys have been individually scrubbed and cleaned and whitened. 2 rounds of whitening in the sun. You see some of this, maybe, I don't know if it's in the camera frame or not. Yeah, some of it maybe. You see some of these dark spots around where the bushings go. I mean, that, who cares? There's oil on the bushings, and it eventually turns some of the plastic darker there. But anyway, these keys they've been given 2 rounds of whitening. They're as white as they're going to get. They're not quite bright white. I don't think they were ever pure white. They're always more of an ivory color. Like, if we compare, I mean, this is a pure white dish. Well, pretty close to pure white. So, where do you start? Well, you always start with top C. Almost always top C. Most keyboards have a special top C key. Pop that guy in, and just pop in your spring. Sorry, I hit the camera. Now, black keys need to go in first. So, do them in a couple at a time. You don't want to get too far ahead because you might screw up and then have to undo a bunch of keys. And as I put these in, I'm just getting any. I got hard water here where I am, and just wiping off any hard water stains that polish these black keys before I put them back on. It's real easy to do this, as you can see. I mean, I'll go back in afterwards and make sure all those springs are lined up, but it's not rocket science. Final B key. All right. Make sure those are all locked into place good. Yeah, that's much prettier key bed. Hi guys, alright, we're going to take a look at this, some of these minor corrosion issues on the bottom frame of this Virus Indigo. Never had to do this on a synth before, but I've done it with other metals, like in the car, certain areas began to rust, etc. Yeah, I mean, the basic formula is clean the rust to corrosion off using something like CLR, and then coat it with an oil-based version of Kills, not water-based. You need an oil-based version of Kills. And that pretty much will take care of it. First thing I want to do is I want to see if the CLR even removes this little rust spot here. I don't know. I'm assuming this is, oh boy. All right, well, we got more than we bargained for there. Soak that up real quick. It's gonna really clean the heck out of it too. I want to see if we can just get that rust to go away. Yeah, it does. Slowly but surely. I gotta let it sit, but I just wanted to see. Wow, what the hell of a cleaner too. Look at that. Alright, so let's do it properly now. I think I'll use a Q-tip for this. In order for CLR to work, you need to let it sit. You don't just scrub it like that. Alright, so let's just get a good bit on there. And let's see if some of this starts to wipe away now. Yep. See, gets the rust up. Alright, now you can't see there's a good bit in here, and I gotta really get that good, so that's the main area I'm worried about. This is just little spots that would really never amount to anything, to be honest. I'm gonna use full strength CLR this time. I'm just gonna do the tiniest little bit. Yep. And spread it around with a Q-tip. I can't have any CLR sitting on the metal if I'm gonna paint it with Kills, seal it, want it to work. So you gotta rinse it off with water. get all that crap out of there. Gets the remaining rust off. Yeah, one more step. I'm gonna just blast this with a hair dryer to get all the water, the moisture gone, so that I didn't just waste my time there. All corrosion removed. May not look like it, but it's dark in there. But yeah, it's removed and it's ready for. I mean, there was a. I don't know if you can see the shiny part. It's ready to be coated with kills. So yeah, I'm gonna just. I gotta run to the post office and drop off another synthesizer that I sold. So I'm gonna do that. Let this chill for a minute. Come back, paint it in a bit. All right, guys. So we're back here, and we are going to just touch up these spots that we clean the corrosion off of and seal them so that it doesn't return. Pretty simple stuff. Probably gonna time lapse this. We are in the process of replacing all these tact switches here, and I thought I would just film some of this, show you how it goes. So I've just real quickly, I've taken the caps off, these little caps off all the switches I want to replace. The only ones that are iffy are this one, and this one. But because I have a bunch extra, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and replace all the ones that get used a lot, even though they're not iffy at all. I mean, I'm never going to use these. I don't think these tact switches go on the TI, so, and even if they did, they're like $1.50 a piece or something. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got 13 of them. I'm just going to go ahead and swap out, the ones that I know need to be replaced, and then any that are just potentials, any potential issues. So if you've never done soldering before, it's pretty easy. I like to cut my soldering braid up into little squares, and then it just makes it easier just to soak it right up. And this solders. See how quick and easy it is when you cut it into little squares? It just soaks it all right up. Alright guys, we are back after successfully removing all of the tact switches that I wanted to replace on this unit. And that was no fun at all. What a pain. I remember the virus being a pain, but man, this really was a very, very aggravating process trying to get these out. Maybe somebody with more experience would find it easier. I don't know. I don't know how you do this. I don't know how. Maybe somebody can leave us some ideas in the comments. I mean, I guess if you had like a heat gun, if you had 2 people, it would be easy. That's the thing. You don't have enough. You need 3 hands. 1 to hold the board, 1 to hold the soldering iron, and 1 to pull the darn thing out. And doing it by yourself is really tough. I mean, even if I had some kind of clamps to hold the board down, I don't know. So what I'm doing now, I'm just cleaning off. I think whenever you, I think the braid has some flux in it. Or maybe the solder just had some leftover flux in it. And it just leaves a little residue. You want to clean off the board before you put in the new tact switches and solder them in place. Now the next fun bit, I remember this equally being kind of annoying, is putting the new tact switches in. Once they're in like position, the soldering's easy. It's just getting them in position's a little tricky because yeah, it's the same thing. They have these little claw feet that you got to get in place. So let the games begin. And we're going to have a lot of realignment of lights to deal with. I think I'm going to go on the back side first on these. Don't want to go too far. Yeah, and then they just snap in. That's a heck of a lot easier than getting the darn things out. Alright, now we're just going to solder them all in place. This is going to be a lot easier than the other steps. I tell you what. Alright guys, so we're putting everything back together here. Got all our parts ready. I forgot to start the camera until now, but we're just putting the pitch mod wheel assembly in. And we'll go from there and get this thing put back together and tested. And make sure that all my tact switches that I replaced worked. And make sure everything else still works, which of course it should. Alright, there's quite a few screws left over, but I'm going to take this apart again to put a new battery in. I just want to see if everything still works. So, not even going to put the knobs on yet. Alright. Does she fire up? Fires right up. Does she make noise? Perhaps pick a different sound. Oh, it's so nice. Those buttons are so responsive now. Super responsive. Beautiful. Everything works perfectly. All I'm going to do is swap out the battery. And I think we'll put this up for sale.